Hi, I'm Lori Dobson, and today is Thursday, March 19th, 2020. I'm in Maine and on an island, Cranberry Isle in Maine. We have been going through several weeks now of some pretty heightened fear situations around the coronavirus, COVID-19. And we've been hearing that as of yesterday, there were 37 cases that we know about or supposedly know about in Maine. We don't have any up here in this area, but there are some in southern Maine, and we do expect that it's coming up the coast and going to be more around the area. As an EMT, I'm concerned about the ways that we have to deal with this from a health perspective, and I have some questions about it because I've been looking into it as much as I can, and I'm not understanding some of the things that are out there. So I just want to say, if I welcome this as an interactive kind of a discussion, because I don't understand what the test kits are actually measuring and how they measure it. I've heard that there are some things that that it's testing that may not be measuring an accurate amount of the viral load to indicate that there's a situation that's critical, and I'm not sure that the differentiation in the test kit can really rule out that it's any other kind of a coronavirus, or that it might actually that it can't filter out other types of viruses in these test kits. So how do we know that it's particular to the COVID-19? And the other question that I'd heard raised was how do we understand a virus that doesn't target children? And any kind of a virus, one would think, would be across the board. And how is that children are not being targeted? And that seems sort of question worthy. And for the skeptically inclined to try to understand more about this at this time, I think questioning what mechanisms we're using, not just to test it, to understand it and to test it, but also to delineate what it is, and when we're reacting to it, are we reacting to a a pandemic that's got accurate numbers associated with it, so we can plan for what it could be versus other strains of it, or other things that are maybe being added to it that might be separate, might not actually be a strain of a coronavirus, but maybe a different type of virus that is hard to separate out from the testing parameters. And so we don't even know in Maine where these cases are. They're not, I don't know how to find out where they are other than the counties. Maybe there are people that know. I haven't heard how to find that information out. And then, so if you don't know, then how do you track it? Maybe there are people doing that. Again, I don't know, but it would be helpful to know how these tests are done, under what conditions, and follow it through from some sort of charting that's transparent, that we can understand. People can be involved in trying to understand this, rather than being told, what to do, being just directed to do this or to do that. Currently on our island, we have directives about things. We're trying to evolve them. We're trying to understand this thing. I think everybody's got a sense of lack of understanding about it. And the more you try to figure it out from a does this make sense kind of perspective, the more questions will arise. And then concurrently with all this, things are happening radically in the economy. People are basically, we've brought our country to a standstill. How could we have voluntarily done that so quickly, taken everybody out of work? Just dropped everything. I mean, is that response? We've been told that response is necessary, and I've been one of the ones out there saying, I think, if that is truly the pandemic it purports to be, then we can't be careful enough. But I don't want to be raising concerns that aren't borne out by by what we're finding to be true on the ground. I mean, in hospitals, are we understanding where things are really at? I understand that it's chaotic, but the chaos is trying to do all these procedures for safety. But do we have chaotic situations? We have people returning to the islands to try to control or oversee their properties and their, there's a lot of unsettled issues going on economically. So anyway, and I'm also was thinking that so the last time we had an issue near not the last time, but one of the last times was when the Patriot Act was enacted while people were in a panic over a fear panic over 9/11, and our rights were suspended, our civil rights were suspended. And if this time, if there's any kind of false flag implication to this at all, we should absolutely know it now before even if it's just part of it, even if it is a pandemic, in addition to having it being used in a way to, like the war with Iraq was, and weapons of mass destruction, all that happened after 9/11, a destabilizing situation that caused us to be afraid. I'm just saying, all I know is in the lack of knowledge, we're letting fear make decisions, and we're acting in a capacity where certain people make decisions and others are fended off. And I just think the best things that we can do are to talk openly, to be courteous, to be understanding, to recognize that we only have a small part of this understanding and we're all doing the best we can, and but to allow for the process of discovery to continue, because we've got to know what we're dealing with, and we have to be able to express some skepticism, some questioning about things in general, I think is helpful. A radical across-the-board suspension of disbelief, following the herd mentality, and then finding that we're in these situations where the herd, we are being culled. People are being moved out. We're told certain people will be dealt with in certain ways that are extreme. And they may be, it may be now to the point with the economy, with everything so frozen in place like musical chairs, everybody stopped, nothing happened. Will that in itself create the conditions around allowing further infringement and complete abrogation of our rights? I mean, are we going to just suspend everything now? Are we going to just stop having a civilization? I mean, the implications here are huge. So I just want to make sure that what we're making a decision on medically is warranted, and we should be really diligent to look into all the aspects around the virus itself, and see if this is all valid, what we're doing and how we're approaching it. Thank you.